Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there's lots to negotiate about. So I'm just going to be giving you an update of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out and said. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer insists that we will exploit the transfer market when the season does resume. So basically, what he's saying is that, reflecting on the mayhem with the coronavirus pandemic, Solskjaer does believe, we can get the players that we want in the summer transfer market and that. Obviously, if Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager in the summer, it will be his fourth transfer window as Manchester United manager, because obviously so far Solskjaer has enjoyed 3 transfer windows at the football club. Obviously, didn't recommend anyone in his first transfer window, but in the 2 previous transfer windows, Solskjaer has recruited 5 players in, and he's spent around £220 million. But I can almost assure that Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season. So he's come out and given a statement as Solskjaer, and he does believe, we can exploit the transfer market, because, he is aware that a lot of teams are under financial pressure, due to this coronavirus. And, what it means is that, clubs will have to offload players to generate funds, because like I mentioned before, clubs are losing, or are set to lose millions in transfer revenues and stuff like that. He said, top flight clubs could lose around 1.137 billion, you know, and stuff like that. So this is a very, very bad news, is this coronavirus. Obviously, Solskjaer was also coming out yesterday, and he says, footballers are easy targets, and, he says the criticism towards them is unfair. And this is, what he had basically said. By the way, I think, the Premier League are going to be paying £20 million to the NHS, or already have paid 20 million to the NHS, and I think they're going to pay around 125 million in advance payments to the EFL and the National League. This is what it said. I've been reading some recent reports, by the way. As you all know, it did say, that players' wages are going to get cut by around 30%. I don't know if this has been done as yet. I don't think footballers mind, their wages reduced. Some of them, would like to get their permission, before, wages are reduced and stuff like that. But yeah. But obviously, the football season has been suspended since the 9th of March. So it's been suspended now for a month, almost a month, if it isn't a month now. And it's suspended until April the 30th, the earliest. I think, the season is set to resume in June. The last time I read about it, just said, the season will resume when it is safe and when it's appropriate to do so. Obviously, there's been reports saying, the people have they've give their verdicts on it now. You've had Peter Schmeichel recently coming out, saying that, if the season cannot be resumed, Liverpool should be denied the title and that. Because mathematically, Liverpool have not officially won it yet, because Liverpool still need 2 wins. They're sitting 25 points clear at the top of Man City. They need 2 wins to clinch their first ever Premier League title and to end their 30-year drought. UEFA, they've actually said, this is from the UEFA president, he said that Liverpool won't be denied the title if the season doesn't resume. But I think the season's going to resume anyway, because, it has been extended indefinitely. It said as well that the Premier League face a financial penalty of 762 million, due to the if the season doesn't resume, they face 762 million financial penalty. And like I said, teams are set to lose millions in, revenues and stuff like that. There's some fair long staff as well, don't forget. But yeah, like I said, if the season wasn't to resume, how would it implicate, the leagues? It'd be interesting to see how it would implicate the leagues. But I think, the season will resume definitely in that. And definitely, the season will be completed behind closed doors. And that's something I do want to confirm with you guys. But yeah, so it's good that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's very, very confident going into the summer transfer market. Very, very confident about it. But, we've got around £150 million to spend this summer, because our transfer budget got recently revealed, and we've got around £150 million to spend this summer. Do you think £150 million is enough for Manchester United? Obviously, the transfer budget will increase if we can sell players in the summer. But Solskjaer back in September met up with Mike Phelan, and he had agreed, the areas, where he wanted to strengthen up. Solskjaer revealed that he wanted to bring a centre forward in, he wanted to bring a right winger in, and he also revealed that, he wanted to bring a central midfielder in. And Solskjaer does want to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer because he believes Man United need around 3 or 4 signings in the summer to become title contenders going on into next season. Don't forget, Solskjaer has had a few, talks with Ed Woodward, discussing our transfer plans. And obviously, don't forget they had that recruitment presentation, and Solskjaer had ticked all the players off, that he wanted to get rid of at Manchester United. Obviously, a lot of players have left since his arrival, but Solskjaer, don't forget, has got the backing of Ed Woodward. He's also got the backing of the Glazers, and a lot of our players, are still determined to back him, because still a lot of people believe out there that Solskjaer is the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. Gary Neville, he gave his verdict on Solskjaer, when he first signed for Man United as a player in 1996, and he said it had been like he'd won a competition following his arrival to the club, because Solskjaer enjoyed 11 great years with Manchester United as a player, and that. But like I've said, Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at the football club. He does deserve at least another season. That he deserves another season, but we have got a lot of players on our agenda who we could go in for in the summer, and the signings that Manchester United are likely to make in the summer, I think we're definitely going to get Jadon Sancho on the board. I gave you the news about Jadon Sancho yesterday, didn't I? Reportedly, Jadon Sancho's transfer to Manchester United is agreed now. No announcement has been made as yet. We've been relentlessly linked to him. Jadon Sancho is going to cost us around £120 million. So that will make him a record signing and our most expensive signing. Also, too, Man United are willing to offer Jadon Sancho around £400,000 a week. And we're also, willing to offer him the iconic number 7. And like I said, I've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. Our recent ones haven't been so good, but I think Jadon Sancho would operate very, very well in the number 7. But basically, what it said yesterday, it reiterated what it said the other week about Sancho, because it said the other week from the Irish Independent that it's unofficially confirmed that Sancho will complete a transfer to Man United in the summer. Borussia Dortmund have come to accept the fact that he does want to leave to rejuvenate his career. Now, Borussia Dortmund will delve into the market to look for an adequate replacement for Sancho. Now, Ferran Torres from Valencia has been on their agenda. Obviously, they've also been in for Jude Bellingham. But Dortmund are going to make a huge profit on the player, because Dortmund only paid £7 or £8 million in from Man City. He enjoyed a couple of years with Man City, never really got assured any first team opportunities at Man City, and this is the main explanation why he left City to join Borussia Dortmund, and he's still got 2 years remaining on his current contract with Dortmund. But Jadon Sancho, don't forget, he's got a very, very good friendship with Marcus Rashford, and I think it'd be one of the club's best attacks. If Sancho comes in, Sancho, will be playing alongside Rashford and Anthony Martial, and I think they would complement each other really, really well. But I think Sancho has revealed that his preference is to move to Man United, and we've been in negotiations with his agent for the last couple of months. Like Fabrizio Romano, he broke out that news the other week, and in a way was reiterating what Duncan Castles has said, because, he also said, we were emerged as the favourites for Sancho, and he said, that's the only destination for Sancho, and that is, Manchester United. But he's coming to the football club in the summer. Even with the coronavirus, pandemic, he's still not going to convince Dortmund to lower their asking price. They're not going to let Jadon Sancho go on the cheap. So they do remain ruthless over their valuation, do Borussia Dortmund and that. But the main explanation why we didn't get him last year is because obviously we had no Champions League football to offer. There's still some reports coming out saying that, if we don't get Champions League football, for next season, Sancho will reject to move to Manchester United. Chelsea and Liverpool have also expressed their interest, but I think he's on his way to Man United. So I actually think he's going to be our 6th signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. and our first signing in the summer transfer window and that. So 150 million to spend, so the vast majority of that's going to be going on Jadon Sancho. So we get Jadon Sancho for 120 million, we're going to have 30 million pounds to spend left. Then obviously, it's looking very, very likely that we're going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. Obviously, we'll get him. We'll get him cheap. I think it's been revealed how much it'll cost us to get Odion Ighalo permanently. It'll cost us around £15 million to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. Solskjaer did make the admission saying, we're probably going to decide to get him on a permanent transfer, reflecting on, how good he's done, because Odion Ighalo's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He has 4 goals in 3 starts with the club, and Odion Ighalo is an option of a different type of centre-forward, and he's totally comparison to our other attacking players. We paid 3 or 4 million to get him on loan, and now we're paying like a third of his wages, but he is a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford. If it had been like 4 or 5 years younger than he is now, I think, he'd probably be quadruple 15 million. He'd cost a lot more than 15 million, but reflect on his age. Obviously, Man United are going to get him on the cheap. Don't forget Shanghai Shenhua the other week. His parent club, they came out and said they'd offered him £400,000 a week, plus a 2-year contract extension to convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. But I've got to give Ighalo a lot of credit. He does want to remain at the club, like he's revealed. And he said quite a few weeks ago he was even willing to take a pay cut to remain at Man United. So Sancho and Ighalo, that'd be £135 million. So that'd then leave us only £15 million to spend. And that's when we have got to consider selling players, because don't forget, we also want to get Jack Grealish on the board. I think he's our number one priority target for the summer is Jack Grealish. It has been revealed how much he will cost us roundabout, probably in the 60-odd or 70-odd million pound range, and that's if Aston Villa are to avoid relegation. But if Villa were to get relegated, then probably wouldn't cost as much as 60 or 70 million pounds. Quite a few pundits and that have given their verdict on him. Jamie Carragher recently gave his verdict on Jack Grealish. Andy Gray, don't forget, recently, he said that Manchester United should sign Jack Grealish in the summer and we should sell Paul Pogba, because, he would cost, like I said, he'd cost around 70 million if Villa avoid relegation, but Andy Gray believes he would represent a bargain at that price, because probably believes he'd do very, very well at Manchester United, would Jack Grealish. And, probably Jack Grealish now anyway believes that he's far too good for Aston Villa. Obviously, he's remained loyal. He's showed a lot of loyalty for Aston Villa, for several years now. He's been a Villa player, since the age of 6. He's been in their senior squad since 2014. And since then, he's become an integral part of their team. And I've got to admire him. He's flourished under Dean Smith's guidance as Jack Grealish. He's only the age of 24, by the way. Predominantly an attacking midfielder, can occasionally play him as a winner. But Grealish will follow the footsteps of Milner and Gareth Barry, who were also former Aston Villa players. But yeah, and I think he's got around 3 years left on his contract with Aston Villa. He's under contract with them until 2023. I don't think there's a buyout clause included. But, revert back to summer of 2018, Tottenham were very, very close to getting him for around £25 million, but the deal never materialised. Obviously, last week, there was reports emerging out saying, that we could miss out on Jack Grealish in the summer. And the main explanation for that is, the main explanation why that came out is because, reflecting on the incident with his Range Rover, his £80,000 Range Rover the other week. Don't forget, he crashed it into 3 parked cars, was it? And, he got fined around £150,000 for it. The police investigated it, and, he publicly apologised because obviously he felt embarrassed about the incident. But I still think, we can get a deal over the line for Jack Grealish in the summer. There's been reports saying, we'll only complete the signing of Jack Grealish if Paul Pogba is to leave the football club. Now, if Paul Pogba was to stay, then maybe, we would drop our interest in Jack Grealish. So let's just put that into the equation. But Sancho and Grealish, they're going to cost us 200 million or just under 200 million pounds for both players. But like I mentioned, think about it. We get rid of players this summer, we're going to generate money. We get rid of Paul Pogba. I think we can get at least £100 million for him. Say we sold De Gea, which I don't think we will, but if we did, we'd probably get maybe in the 60 odd or 70 odd million pound range for him. And that would definitely help us with our rebuilding process and totally free up our wage bill completely, because you've got De Gea that's on 375 grand a week at the club. You've got Pogba that's on £300,000 a week at Manchester United. So let's just put that into the equation. But players are going to be definitely leaving Manchester United in the summer. But also, like I mentioned, we are in search for a centre forward, because we are actually, looking for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Now, I want to give you some news on Erling Haaland. Now, Erling Haaland has recently, come out and he's, credited Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for the way that he's taught him and that. And obviously, Erling Haaland, has explained how he's become an expert finisher. Now, don't forget, I think it was 3 years ago now, that Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at Mould. He gave him his debut at just the age of 16. Don't forget, did Solskjaer. And obviously, Erling Haaland is a very, very good player. Don't forget, we went in for Erling Haaland back in the January transfer window. Don't forget, he was our number one priority target, but we didn't get Erling Haaland on the board, unfortunately. As one point, it was looking very, very likely that we was going to get him, and it was a cheap solution as well. He'd have only cost us around 16 or 17 million pounds, would Erling Haaland. But I think his father, Alf Inge Haaland, did give a couple of the main explanations why we didn't get Erling Haaland, is because, there's been a lot of uncertainty over Solskjaer's future. Obviously, Solskjaer was the only one that really wanted him. And obviously, we've struggled a lot this season, so they're the reasons why we didn't get Erling Haaland, plus with no Champions League football to offer. So Haaland decided to join Borussia Dortmund instead. Dortmund got him for 17 million, was it? He's got a contract with Dortmund till 2024. Plus, he's got around the 63 million release clause. Man United, we have reignited our interest in him. I think also too, Real Madrid have expressed their interest in Erling Haaland. Haaland is on 40 goals this season, by the way, including the goals he scored when he was at Salzburg earlier on in the season. But Solskjaer was keen on a reunion with the player. So we have reignited our interest in the player, but credit Erling Haaland, because he's come out and credited Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But like I mentioned, there's a lot of players on our agenda. Obviously, we are in search for a replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, there was talks yesterday of Serge Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio. Now, he's another player that's on our agenda who could replace Paul Pogba at the football club. Don't forget, Man United have inquired about his availability before. Back under the Jose Mourinho era, we went in for him because I think Jose Mourinho was a long admirer of the player, to be quite honest with you. He was a long admirer of the player, and I don't think Solskjaer's actually took much notice of the speculation regarding Serge Milinkovic-Savic, because I don't think he's really interested in recommending him in. Now, I think wouldn't he cost around 100 million euros? Does that equate to around 80 odd million in pounds sterling? Serge Milinkovic-Savic is now into his 5th season with Lazio. I think he's made around 150 appearances in the Serie A and scored 26 goals. I think he's got a contract with Lazio, is it until 2023 or 2024. His versatility is very, very good, by the way. He can play in several midfield roles. He can play as an attacking mid, a holding midfielder and a central midfielder. I do believe he's predominantly a central midfielder, though, is Serge Milinkovic-Savic. Also, too, Real Madrid have been long admirers of the player. He's also very, very tall. He's very effective in the air, which is good. So if he was to come to the Premier League, do you think he'd succeed in the Premier League, Serge Milinkovic-Savic? This was stemming from Footing Mercato yesterday that Manchester United have expressed their interest, and they've had negotiations with his agent over a possible move to Man United in the summer, and he's only at the age of 25. Sol Niguez, he's been another player on our agenda, but I'm very sceptical that Man United will sign Sol Niguez because we're not willing to pay what Atletico Madrid are demanding for the player, because they want around 130 odd million. we're only willing to pay around half of that, around £70 million. So I can't see Man United getting Solsjaker in. Don't forget James Maddison's been on our agenda. Probably seeing James Maddison as an alternative to Jack Grealish. So yeah, there's so many players on our agenda, but I just believe Manchester United need qualification for the Champions League, to get the players that we want in the summer, and to also convince our imperative players to remain at the football club and that. So let's just put that into the equation. Obviously, the news on Paul Pogba is that, I'm going to reiterate what I mentioned on my recent videos now. I think Paul Pogba is leaving Manchester United in the summer transfer window, but it's not fully assured as yet. Now, there's been reports saying that Paul Pogba will take a FIFA transfer regulation to buy out the remainder of his contract for around £50 million. Paul Pogba has revealed his priority, and his priority is to join Real Madrid in the summer transfer window. There's also been talks about Paul Pogba making a return back to Turin, because Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in Turin with Juventus. But since he rejoined Manchester United, the vast majority of his performances with us have been totally comparison to his ones with Juventus. Now, there has been swap deals on the agenda, like I said last week. There was talks of De Ligt coming to Manchester United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going to Juventus. A couple of weeks ago, there was talks of Aaron Ramsey coming to Man United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going back to Juventus and that. So, yeah, swap deals have been on the agenda. But I said swap deals are very, very rare in the modern game. They don't happen very, very often, do they? Let's be honest with you. But, revert back to last summer, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked with Paul Pogba, but the main explanation why Pogba's move to Real Madrid didn't materialise last summer is reflect on the substantial amount we put on him, because we wanted around £180 million, £180 million. So he was basically just demanding over double than what we paid for him from Juventus, and Real Madrid would not pay our valuation and that. But, the figure's totally comparison, now to what we wanted last summer, because I think we said in the summer we want around £100 million at least for Paul Pogba, maybe just a bit more than £100 million. But it's very imperative, that we do get more money than what we paid for him, because we did pay £89 million for him from Juventus. He's our most expensive signing, and he's one of the highest paid players at the club as well. He's Paul Pogba, he's on £300,000 a week at Manchester United. Obviously, Ed Woodward's had a few negotiations with Mini Raiola, obviously, to try and resolve Paul Pogba's future and to, stop Mini Raiola making public attacks against the club, because since the turn of the year, Mini Raiola's made a number of public attacks against Manchester United, and we have been very, very critical of this. But at least in the last couple of years, Mini Raiola's been working on trying to get his client a transfer away from Man United completed. Yes, he has, and that. Obviously, I think, have we entered contract negotiations? It said the other week we was going to enter contract negotiations over the possibility of extending Pogba's contract. Pogba, of course, has got 2 years left on his contract, 1 year with an option of a further year. Probably Man United will trigger this 1 year extension on his contract and that. But yeah, but there may be a slight chance that Pogba, could be set to stay at Manchester United at least for another season and that. We may not get as much as £100 million for him, obviously reflect on what's going on with the coronavirus and that. But Pogba has only played 8 times this season. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. He's only managed eight games this season for Manchester United as a player, but sustained quite a few injuries, since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. PSG and Barcelona have been in for Pogba before, don't forget. Pogba enjoyed a difficult time under the Mourinho era. We also had him when he was younger under the Alex Ferguson era. We had to let him go under the Ferguson era because his appearances were limited. So let's just put that into the equation. So I think he's on his way out of the football club in the summer. But I think, if he plays again for Man United, which I think he will, he'll go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. Solskjaer's looking for someone to go alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. But yeah, I obviously give you the news yesterday night, didn't I, on Alexis Sanchez. I gave you the news on Alexis Sanchez, didn't I? Reportedly, Sanchez, could be set to stay at Manchester United. and could, see out the remainder of his contract. Sanchez has got, is it 2 years, something left on his contract, because he's under contract with the football club until 2022, is Sanchez. He is on loan at Inter Milan at the moment. He joined Inter Milan on loan last summer. And he's endured a very, very difficult time with Inter Milan as Sanchez. Obviously, he's only played 7 games, but he's only started 2 of them games because he's had an ankle injury. But Sanchez did endure a difficult 18 months with Manchester United. We got him as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal back in January 2018, and we thought it'd been an exceptional signing, but he wasn't. He endured difficult 18 months at Man United. He also sustained quite a lot of injuries. And I said, Sanchez's wages were having a really bad effect on the club. Sanchez was on 400 grand a week, rising up to 500 grand a week, with bonuses and image rights involved in that. So his wages were having a bad effect on the club. But even though he's on loan at Inter Milan now, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. But the main explanation why he could be set to stay at Man United is because he's refusing to take a pay cut. And not many teams, if any, can afford to pay, his full wages. So he could be set to stay at Manchester United. But Solskjaer said back in January, didn't he, that Sanchez will come back to prove everybody wrong. Yes, but I think he's now, 31 or 32 years of age, if I'm right? So he's in his early 30s now, is Alexis Sanchez. West Ham have recently expressed their interest, but I think Manchester United, basically, just need to get rid of Sanchez, because we don't really need him now anyway. I obviously, give you the news on Jesse Lingard, didn't I, yesterday? He's been linked to a move to Arsenal. That was stemming from The Athletic earlier on this week. Arsenal could try and sign Jesse Lingard. Like updated yesterday, it said Everton had, entered the race for Jesse Lingard. Everton, have got quite a few midfielders in their team. You've got Andrea Gomez. He's done really, really well since he come back from injury. He was injured for a while, was Andrea Gomez. They've got Sigurdsson. They've got Alex Iwobi in that. And, if they were to get Jesse Lingard, Everton, they probably plan to put him in central midfield, or maybe put him just behind, put him behind the centre forward. But I think Lingard is expected to leave Manchester United in the summer. I think, we value Jesse Lingard at around £30 million. But like I've said before, reflecting on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club and reflecting on the number of years he's been here, he should be putting much more better performances out. Lingard spent the vast majority of his career with us, and he's lost the confidence of Solskjaer. Lingard's found game time difficult since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes. I think Jesse Lingard's got exactly now a year left on his Man United contract. In the Premier League for us, he's made around 131 appearances and 131, I think it is, something like that, and scored around 17 goals in the Premier League. And he's now, 27 or 28 years of age. Hasn't registered 1 goal or 1 assist in the Premier League for over a year, but I can see definitely Man United getting rid of him. So I think the players we're going to get rid of is Jones, Lingard and Pereira, because also too Pereira's a liability, and he's found game time difficult since McTominay came back. Pereira anyway only became regular last season. Fossil Mentu, he could be also moved on. Rojo will negotiate on getting rid of him on a permanent transfer. Chris Smalling as well. I'm very sceptical he'll come back. I think we'll get rid of him on a permanent transfer. And that. So yeah, we are going to get rid of players in the summer, but we also need to see more incomings in the summer transfer window. But I do expect going on into next season for us to enjoy a better season than what we've enjoyed this season. But I had the same perception at the start of this season. I did say I expect us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. Reflect on the players that we recruited in, because it was a disappointment last season because we finished 6th last season. To be quite honest with you. But I'm still determined to back Solskjaer, and that he has been Manchester United manager now almost 16 months, and he's been permanent Man United manager for a year. Like I said, I credit him, for the way he's promoted the youth, because I think he's promoted the youth very, very well. I also credit him, for the players he's brought in. I also credit him, with his approach to the big games, because I think his approach to the big games have been very, very good, and we've taken 17 points against the big 6 sides this season. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood. yeah, so I credit him for a lot of stuff. He's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals, the last 8 of the Europa League. That's a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. So they're positive, you can definitely take, from Solskjaer. Obviously, since Solskjaer got the job permanently, his record's been disastrous, and that's a negative. And this season, we've enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. We haven't been brilliant against lower opposition. And obviously, Solskjaer is still under pressure, to keep this good run of form up, when the season does eventually resume. But we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, and that's our best vein of form since Solskjaer was the interim manager, which is obviously no good. Solskjaer is inexperienced as a manager, but there again, the longer he remains in the Man United job, he's going to be gaining more experience in that. So let's just put that into the equation. So I just wanted to give you the update. He's made a transfer statement and he says, we will exploit the transfer market when football resumes again. So let's just put that into the equation. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.